Good morning, students. I am NMK Sarath Kumar, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department in Vignan Lara Institute of Technology and Science. So, welcome to the course Design of Machine Members 2. So, in your previous semester, we studied the course name called Design of Machine Members 1. Shortly, call it as a DMM 1. So, this is the course that is a continuation course for DMM 1 that you studied in your earlier course, that DMM 1. So, the basic principles of design. So, how the machine members are going to design, how the machine members are going to fail based upon the different criteria that we call it as theories of failures under the study load conditions, as well as the machine members are going to fail under the fluctuating type of loads, and the criteria we have also seen or discussed in that course, that the criteria are Soderberg criteria and Goodman's line criteria. So using those principles and the criteria, the machine members are also designed. So some of the machine components like bolted joints, riveted joints, and springs, etc. So these are the components we designed in the earlier course, DMM 1. So this is the continuation course for DMM 1, that is the design of machine members 2, design of DMM 2, shortly we call it as. So in these courses, so whatever the principles we studied in a DMM 1, so the same principles or criteria are to be applicable in this course, that is using in this course. So and many of the components are also going to design using those principles. So here coming to the course objectives of the course, so that is DMM 2 course. So the main objectives of the course, which gives a brief insights of the design of the sliding contact bearings and the selection of the rolling contact bearings and their life prediction. And also we can also calculate or design the IC engine components. So various components we already know that there are various of components are present in the IC engines. So but we are going to restrict up to the major components in the IC engine that we are going to discuss in this course. And then we can also design the various power transmitting devices or power transmitting drives like belt drives, pulleys, and gear drives and rope drives, etc. So that is the main objective of the course. So we can give the insights of slider and roller contact bearings and the design of IC engine components and the mechanical power transmitting devices like gears, belts, ropes, and levers, etc. Clear? And in order to satisfy the course objectives what we mentioned earlier, so the course consists of 6 units, so which consists of the unit 1, the bearings, so that is includes the bearings, and unit 2, that is IC engine components such as cylinder, piston, connecting rod, and crankshaft. We can restrict up to that main components in IC engine. And coming to the unit number 3, that is the design of curved beams, that is up to the mid 1. And coming to the mid 2, again 3 units are there, unit 4, 5, and 6. And unit 4 is the design of power transmitting devices, so like belt drives and pulleys. And unit 5 is the gear drives, that is the spur gears and helical gears we discuss. And unit number 6, that is the machine tool elements, so such as rope drives, wire ropes, etc. and then levers, etc. Clear? So these are the 6 number of units the total syllabus will consist of, that is the course structure is given. Clear? So next coming to the syllabus, so that is unit 1. So bearings. So in these bearings, chapter bearings, unit 1. So the consists of introduction part. So why the bearings are essential in the machine components and what is the need it is and where it is going to applicable. So that is introduction part, and the general classification of bearings. So what are the different types of bearings we have, and based upon which criteria we are going to classify these bearings. And then we go with the sliding contact bearings, and completely the types of lubrication modes present in the sliding contact bearings. And then we go with the design of journal bearings. After that we can see the selection of rolling contact bearings and then their life prediction. That is the total syllabus which consists in unit number 1. So bearing life we need to calculate. And now let us see, so why the bearings are essential. So what is the need of bearings? So why? So here we can illustrate or we can analyze with some examples. I can give a simple example to understand so what is the need of the bearings is. So we can consider a shaft. We can consider a shaft. So one end of the shaft is assembled to the power source. So these power source I can simply consider as an some electric motor. Clear? So whenever the motor tends to rotate, so along with the motor, so the shaft can also subjected to rotate. So here the purpose of the shaft, you know that to transmit the power from one end to the another end and one device to the another device. So in order to transmit power from these power source, that is electric motor, so I can going to mount another intermediate power transmitting device like belt drive. So for that we require a pulley, that I am going to mount a pulley upon these shaft at the free end. So I can going to place a shaft pulley on the shaft at the free end. So here upon the pulley there is an belt is to be present, so towards the direction of the drive. So you studied in your earlier course kinematics of machinery regarding the belt drive. So whenever the belt is moving, there is two sides of the belt tensions are there. One is a tight side and a slide side. So that the total tension of the belt may tends to act towards the drive side. So the total tensions acting at the belt is given by total tension T1 plus T2. That we know that. So along with that, there is a weight of the pulley is also acting downwards. I consider it is a horizontal vertical drive, so that the belt tensions can also act downwards, vertically downwards. So along with that, so the weight of the pulley can also acting downwards. Clear? So that the total force acting at the free end of the shaft at the pulley, so is given by total force acting at the pulley is given by total weight of the pulley plus the tensions acting at the pulley. So due to the force F, so the total force acting at the pulley F, so the shaft may tends to takes place a deformation. So there is a chance of deformation in this fashion. Clear? So due to the load F, so here the shaft, if you observe clearly, the shaft, one end of the shaft is fixed end, that is fixed at the electric motor, and the free end of the shaft is acting to the load of double. So that means the shaft is considering here it is acting as a cantilever beam. So one end is fixed end and loaded at the free end. So due to the loading, the shaft may tends to take the place of bending. So in order to avoid such deflection in a shaft, I am going to introduce one of the machine component near the free end. So I can suppose to place a component here. So I am going to support this shaft. So whenever I am going to support the shaft, so that it should not going to bend at this area. Clear? So here, so whatever the component that is I am going to place here, and these component we call it as bearing. So here these bearing, the machine component is going to support the another machine component, and these machine component having the relative motion. Here the shaft is a rotary one, so it is supporting the another component, but it should not restrict their motion. So it can allow the relative motion of the another machine component. At the same time, it can also support the whatever the load acting on the shaft, it is going to supported by the bearing. So clear? So this is the main function of the bearing. So here the bearing is going to support another machine member having the relative motion, as well as it can support the loads, that is external loads acting on the supporting member. That is why the bearings are very much essential. So here, so where these bearings are going to use, so that is the main idea, that is the main thought all of you can know. So sir, you are telling these, so that is supporting one of the component and it can support, it can allow the relative motion like that. So where these machine, that is a machine component that is called bearing is going to applicable, that is we are going to use, so that is applications of the bearing. So here the bearings can be applicable whatever the machine it is. So it starts from aeroplanes to the bicycles, that is aerospace applications, aircraft applications, and in IC engine, automobiles. So from the engine parts to the road wheels, we have the bearings, and then coming to the bicycles, you can observe the bearings, as well as in the escalators and elevators, and rolling doors, as well as electric motors and pumps, and then hand power tools. So whatever the application, industrial grinders and mixers, and then so you can see the hoisting devices, as well as you can also observe in the medical diagnostic equipments. So whatever the machine you can take, in each and every machine component, from automobiles to, that is aerospace application, automobiles or bicycles, to the industrial mixers, to the home appliances. So in our household purpose, we are using the many of the machines like grinders, home grinders, mixers, as well as the washing machines. In each of the machines, you can observe electric motors or pumps. You can observe in the household purpose. So all the machines that consist of these machine component called bearing. Clear? So that much of the necessity the bearing should have, that much of preference that bearings should have. So in each and every type of so whatever the application you can take, whatever the area you can observe, so in each of the machines there must be an bearings. The presence of bearing is very much essential in any of the machines. So that much of the importance the bearing should have. Clear? So next, coming to the introduction, let's go into the before going to the introduction. So what is the bearings means? So where the idea of the bearing should come from? So we are saying that the bearings is a machine component. So everybody can think that so the bearings are evolved, that is developed or invented in the modern era of mechanical life, but it is not true. So the basic idea, the basic concept of the bearings can be taken from the Egyptian age during the construction of the pyramids. So if you observe clearly, I can show here two different diagrams during the period of construction of the pyramids. So that is the Egyptian age. So here there is a large stone idol is there. So many of the workers or many of the humans are moving these stone idol. So large big stone idol or sculpture we call it as. So if you observe clearly, so here a few persons. So one of the person is pouring the water in front of the sculpture. So that is an idol. So before the idol. So this is the surface. So that will consist of a sand. So whenever the person can pour the water on the floor before the sculpture. So due to the water, that is we are pouring the water. Due to the pouring of the water, the stiffness of the soil is going to be increased by 50%. That will helps to reduce the force required to move these sculpture from here to the here. So that it can move easily from one place to the another. So that means we are going to reduce so here the friction by means of application of water upon the sand. So that the force required is going to reduce. So clear. So that is one of the basic idea, as well as you can observe the second image. So here are the large stones. So the cubical size or the rectangular sizes of large so the stone blocks are there. So these are also moving in a particular direction by means of the series of persons here that is pulling towards the direction. So if you observe clearly, so below this, underneath this stone rock, that is a rock, so you can observe the tree trunks. So that which is a rollers. So it will act as a roller. So that the force required to move these iron block is very much lesser compared to the normal condition if you want to move from one place to the another. So that it can allow very much easier to move this body, and as well as by the placing of these trunks that can use the direction. So they are showing the path. So in which way they need to take these particular stone towards the destination. Clear? So this is the basic idea. They are taken from the Egyptian age. So that is a bearings concept, and later on they can evolve into the designs of Da Vinci as well as the invention of the wheel, and later on it will be come into the modern era of bearings, that is the industrial era of bearings. Now we can go into see so how their construction it is and how it is going to look like. And coming to the introduction of the bearings, so how the bearings are going to define. So bearings is a simple machine member or the machine component is a support another machine component having the relative motion, as well as it can support the external load acting on the component. Clear? So that is how the bearings are going to define. So it is a machine component is going to support another machine component, that is that machine component is having the relative motion, that is having either a sliding motion or the rotary motion it is. So having the relative motion, that the component we are going to support with the additional load acting on the component. And at the same time, these bearings should not restrict the motion. So as I said that one of the component is having the motion. So if you are going to support, so whenever you are going to support, you should not going to restrict that motion. So it can free that the bearings can allow the another machine component to rotate in the free fashion. Clear? So that is what the bearings are called as. So it is a machine component is going to support the moving machine element, as well as there is a surfaces, it permits a relative motion along with the carrying of load. So as a designer, so we need to supposed to design the bearings based upon the three different criteria. So one is to minimize the friction, so that whenever the designer is going to give the designs for the bearings, we should reduce the friction. So as I said that there is always relative motion between the two components, machine component one, that is a bearing, and then another machine component, there will be a relative motion will be there, so that we should reduce the friction between that. So whenever the two mating parts will be there, so there is always a presence of friction, we should reduce that. So as a designer, so keep in mind that we can reduce the friction while designing the component, that is a bearings, as well as it can support the load, and at the same time it can also guide a motion or the moving part of the component. Clear? So these are the main factors we need to keep in mind while designing the components. And here a simple example, it can show how the friction can reduce. So if you observe the image in the top part, so here one of the person is trying to move this wooden box. So the force required to move this box upon a flat floor, that is a floor. So having the force required is very much greater. Why? Because the frictional force acting opposite to the direction of the applied force. So that the force required is obviously having the greater force is required, or greater effort is required. So that I can introduce in rolling elements here. So as we seen in the earlier case of Egyptian idea in the bearings, there we can observe the tree trunks are used in the similar fashion. I can simply place a rollers here between the wooden box, so that the force required is observed. The force required is very much smaller compared to the very much less is compared to the previous case, so that you can minimize the friction as comparing the two different images. So this is the main introduction to the bearings. And coming to the classification of the bearings, so the bearings can be classified based upon the different criteria, and we generally classify based upon the criteria one, that is depending upon the type of contact between the two surfaces. As we are stating that the bearings are going to support another component, so that there is always a relative motion will be there, and depending upon the type of contact between the two surfaces, the bearings can be classified majorly. And then so what are the type of load, which type of load the bearing is going to support, and again the bearings can also be classified. And then which type of rolling elements we can introduce between the two surfaces, the bearings can also be classified. Clear? So this is the basic general classification of the bearing. If you observe, if the bearings can be classified based upon the nature of contact. So if it is a sliding in contact, that is it can the one of the surface of the bearing, one of the machine surface is slides over the bearing surface. That is the nature, we call it as sliding nature, and that bearings we call it as sliding contact bearings. And if the machine surface rolls over the bearing surface, and that contact we call it as rolling contact, and the bearings we call it as rolling contact bearings. And coming to the radial bearings, so that is when the type of load is acting, that is a load acting perpendicular to the axis of the shaft, the bearing is going to support, and the load is radial type of load, and the bearings we call it as radial bearings. And if the load is parallel or along the axis of the shaft that is supporting by the bearing, so that the bearings we call it as thrust bearings. And coming to the roller types, so if it is an balls are introduced between the two surfaces to obtain the rolling motion, that is balls we can introduce, we call it as a ball bearings. If it is providing a rollers between the two surfaces, we call it as roller bearings. Clear? Let us move on to the bearings classification. We can continue with the bearing classification. So as I said that, so based upon the nature of contact, so between the two surfaces, so what type of the contact will be there present. So based upon that, the bearings are going to classify. So first one is the sliding contact bearings. As I said that, for example, you can take a flat surface. So in the simple example we illustrated earlier, so this the flat surface is a fixed surface of bearing, and another surface that is a movable element, that is a machine surface. So in order to move these machine component, so for example I can tend to move this machine component from here to in this position, so that so the surface will be, the total surface will be in contact with this bearing surface, as well as it is going to slide upon the surface. And that type of contact we call it as sliding contact, that you can observe here also. So this is this circle represents the shaft, that is a moving element. The shaft can tends to rotate in these bearings, or bearing is a fixed element. It is outer portion of the shaft we consider as a fixed element, that is a bearing. So whenever the shaft rotates, the total length of the shaft that inside, that is accommodated inside the bearing, that will takes place the sliding motion, so that here it will going to slide over upon the surface. There is always a surface contact, as well as it will going to slides upon the surface, that is glides over the surface. That type of contact we call it as sliding contact bearings. So clear? So that is a surface contact between the two elements. That is a rotating member as well as a fixed member. We can obtain the sliding motion. We call it as sliding contact bearings. And here you can observe the rendered type of model, that is for the sliding contact bearings. So here the circular, the inner circular circle indicates the journal or the shaft. So what is journal, that we will discuss in the later classes. And upon that there is a bearing liner will be provided. So and then the outer portion will be taken as a fixed one. So that is as a bearing that can be assembled to the some housing or the bearing by means of bolts and nuts. So whenever the shaft rotates, so inside the bearing liner, which will cause us a sliding motion always. So on the bearings we call it as sliding contact bearings. And coming to the next type of bearings, that is a rolling contact. So here there is no surface contact will be there. So in the previous case, if you observe, it will be tends to slide. So there is a sliding in nature, that is a surface contact will be present. So that in coming to the next case, so that is a rolling contact bearings here. So in which, so between the shaft, so this is the circular one indicates the moving one indicates a shaft, and the outer portion, that is bearings, that is the fixed one. So between these shaft and the bearing, we can introduce the rolling elements. So these circles that indicates the rolling elements. So here the rolling elements may be balls or rollers. So either you can introduce a balls or rollers. So whenever the shaft rotates, this moving element, that is a shaft, can rotate here. So these balls can tends to rolls upon the surface of the bearing. So it can go into roll. So about the, so which gives the rolling action between the two surfaces, and the bearings we call it as a rolling contact bearings, and there is no surface contact will be there. So either based upon the balls, if it is a balls we can get the point contact, if it is a rollers we may get the line contact, so that the friction may be mostly reduces compared to the relative to the previous sliding contact bearings. So as you can see here the rendered model of the ball bearing it is. So here the inner circle that represents the inner race, and the outer circle represents the outer race. In between that you can introduce a number of balls are introduced with the equal distance between the inner race and outer race, and inside the inner race we can accommodate the shaft, and outside, that is the outer race, can be fixed in the hub or the whatever the assembly of the machine can have. So we can directly assemble inside the machine, so that whenever the inner race rotates along with the shaft, the balls can take the rolling motion, that is a rolling action can be takes place between the moving and fixed member. Clear? That we call it as a rolling contact bearings. And come to the, based upon the type of load it can support, we know that whenever the load is acting, so based upon the direction of the load it can support, the load acts perpendicular to the axis of the shaft, and the bearings we call it as radial bearings. That load we call it as radial load. The bearings which are going to support the radial type of load. So this is the shaft axis, you can observe. So the load is acting in this direction, so which means perpendicular to the axis of shaft, and the bearings which are going to support these kind of loads, that are the bearings we call it as radial bearings. Clear? So you can see the example for that. So this is the shaft axis in this z direction. So due to the delta tensions here, the resultant force will be acting this. So the axis may be in this direction. So but the force may be acting perpendicular to the axis of shaft, which is a radial type of load. As well as here the belt tensions may be acting in this direction. The force may be acting in this direction. So similarly, these are the belt tensions, and this is the force, which is a radial type of force. And the bearings we are going to place here in these portions or in these place, we call it as a radial type of bearings. And coming to the second one, so that is when the load is acting parallel or along the axis of the shaft, that the bearing we call it as axial, that is thrust bearings, not axial bearings. So it is in some of the cases they may also call it as axial bearings, but most of the cases we call it as a thrust bearings. The load, the support along the axis or parallel to the axis of rotation. So this is the axis. So the load is acting along the axis in this direction. So the type of bearings that support these kind of loads we call it as thrust bearings. Clear? So here we can take an example. There is a simple stool, rotating stool. The total weight of the person can taken place by means of the bearing that placed underneath this rotating stool member. So clear, the load is acting along the axis of the shaft, the total load. Clear? So this is based upon the type of load it can support. And in some of the cases, the bearings not only support the simple radial load or not only supported to the simple axial load. In few of the cases, it can also support both the radial load and thrust loads, that is axial loads. That we can go with the simple example for that. That is a combined load of radial and axial loads. So here I can take an example with that. So as an wheel, that is a bearing at the bearing in the automobiles, that is at the road wheel. So here this is the wheel. So that is a half cut portion of the wheel. So if you observe the total weight of the vehicle as well as the persons that inside the vehicle, the load may be acting always downwards. That load is acting perpendicular to the axis of the shaft, and the type of load is a radial type of load. That is the weight of the car is acting as a downward direction always. So the radial load, that is. So here that is acting perpendicular to the axis of the axle. And then so that due to the cornering of the vehicle, so whenever the vehicle can takes a turn, so that is a cornering forces, that the cornering forces may always tends to act along the axis, and the type of loads is axial loads or thrust loads. So in some of the cases, the bearings can also subjected to not only radial or not only the axial loads, it can also subjected to combined radial and axial loads. Clear? So this is the bearing classification, and in next class we are going to see so what is sliding contact bearings and their classification, and then their design. Thank you. In today's class, so far we discussed so what is the course DMM2. So as I said, that is a continuation course, and we see in the major object, that is the base objectives of the course of these DMM2 course, and then course structure. So what are the topics that covered in various units, and then we also discussed why the bearings are essential, why the bearings are essential, and where we are going to use these bearings. So and then we can also see in so the various that is the introduction to the bearings. So the bearings are going to use, and then their classification. So these are the 4 points we discussed in this class. So why means the machine member, that is again we have discussed in the introduction part. So applications is where we discussed with the various illustrated examples from automobiles or aircrafts or bicycles or industrial mixers and grinders and hoisting devices. Whatever the application you can take, there you can observe the bearings. And the introduction is a simple machine component that can support another machine component and also allows a relative motion between the two components. So and then the classification. So this classification can take in place based upon the two different criteria depending on type of load. So that is radial bearings, and another one is thrust bearings. As well as the classification can also be done based upon the nature of contact. Nature of contact, that is sliding contact bearings, and another one is rolling contact bearings. So as well as you can also see in the design that is classification for the rolling contact bearings, that there is a brief classification for that you can see in the design in the rolling contact bearings. So these are the main points we discussed in this class. So in the next class we are going to see these sliding contact bearing classification and their lubrication modes, and then we can further go with the design also. Clear? Thank you.